Hello guys, I made a collection of some math topics for the SAT that we can use on Desmos, and here are the topics, and we will start doing it one by one and see how we can handle it. My advice to you in the beginning, please pause the video and try to solve the equation yourself using Desmos and see if you can get the same answer. If you get the same answer, move on to the next question. And if not, try to watch it again and see how we do it. It's very important that you will be familiar with the easy stuff that you can use Desmos for. Here is the first question, solving single variable equation, and we got this equation right here and is asking for a positive integer p, the value of p that is going to satisfy the equation. Notice if it says positive value, that means there will be another value which is negative. All we have to do is we go to Desmos, type in the equation, and instead of p, use x over here. Why we use x over here? To give us the two solution, because if you use p, until that you will get only one solution. So here is how we do it. We just type in and the graph will appear right here. Then you go for the x-intercept. Here is one negative for sure, and here is one positive, and we need the positive value, which is 7. So your answer over here is not A because it's asking for a positive, it's B. If it was asking for a negative integer, so you go with negative 11. So the answer over here is B, 7. Here is a other topic that we need to find x when we have we need to find the f of x when x is equal to something. We have this equation and we get g of 9. G of 9, the 9 represent the x. So all we have to do is we type in the equation as you see over here, and the graph will appear. Never mind the graph, and we need g of 9. So you hit g of 9. Then it's going to give you the answer right away, which is 2. So the answer over here is 2. As you see, D is the correct answer. Also, if we have an equation that look like this, and we got h of x is equal to this equation, and it says h of k, and h of k that represent the y equals to half, what is the value of the x value? Anyway, so we just type in the equation right here and plus 20. We go down here and type h of x because the k represent the x over here. So we type in h of x is equal to 1 over 2. And this is going to give us another graph. Let's zoom in to see, zoom out to find the point of intersection. A little bit over here. Now the point of intersection will show somewhere around here. Here it is. So at half, which is 0.5, we get the x value as 25. So your B is the correct answer. If we have an equation like this one, it's v of x equal to 12, 3 power 2x minus 3, and that's exponential function, and you need the correct table for it. All you have to do is type in the equation over here, and when you go to the power, you need to do parentheses because it's going to take you down if you put negative 3. So here is the parentheses to x minus 3, then you close your parentheses, then oops, close your parentheses, then you get this equation. Of course, you're going to get some graph, but we don't need the graph. We need tables. All you have to do is hit the setting over here. Then you put table is going to give you the table you need. Of course, we have 0, 1, and 2 for all choices. So 0 is 0.4. So this is 4 over 5. That's the correct one. And we got 1 is 4 exactly. And we got 2 is 36. So choice A is the correct answer for the exponential function over here. Some people get confused or students get confused. They don't know how to convert this into decimal. Just do it over here for over 9. And this is going to give you 0.4 repeating. As you see over here, it's the same thing for the value of 1. Same thing for any fraction you need to do, just type it in and it will give you the decimal form right here to the right side. We can use Desmos also to find how many solutions for any of the functions we have. For example, over here we have this quadratic function and is asking how many solutions. We just type in the equation just like that, plus 35 equal to 0. If you hit equal to 0, you will see no graph. So usually we don't have to put equal to 0 to see the graph. Then you can zoom out. Here you go. So it's not intersecting with x-axis. So this will be a zero solution. And how is going to look like if we have any like two solutions or something? Let me change this a little bit. See, over here we have two solutions crossing the x-axis. So that's how you tell if we have a zero solution or two solution or just one solution. But this question was not plus 3, was plus 35, so there is no solution for this question. Choice A is the correct one. We can use also Desmos to find a solution for a system of equation. We have these two equations right here, and it's asking us for the value of y. Of course, the intersection will give us x and y, but we need the value of y only over here. So you type in the equation, and you get one graph, the red one over here, then the other equation, and you get the blue graph. Then you move it around to see the point of intersection. Over here, you get 5 and negative 16. 5 is for the x and negative 16 is for the y. So your choice C is the correct answer. But there is another way we need to learn in order to do this system of equation, and very easy and simple. Just follow the steps. First of all, we do brackets. We put the left side of the equation in one bracket, then we put tilde in between them, and also we put the right side of the equation in another bracket. Of course, when we use tilde, we use x1 and y1. So that's how you can tell, you can get some answers. Here is, I did it right here. So look over here. Here is the left side of the first equation, 3y plus 13, but of course we use y1. And also negative 2x over here, negative 2x1 minus 5y. I put it over here, of course, x1 and y1, tilde in between. And here is the other bracket, negative 7x1 plus, not plus anything, then comma, 70. And we get the answers down here. Here is the y and here is the x. And some student asked me just graph the two lines and get the point of intersection. Yes, but you will need this later on for harder question, and I will show you later in different videos. Here is another topic we can use Desmos for. If it's given us an inequality system of equation like this one, and it says which one is the solution, all we have to do is type in the first equation, and it's going to show this graph. And of course, if we type in the second equation, it's going to give us this graph. All the points that show on this area, that the common area or the overlap shaded area only is the solution. So we type in the first point, which is negative 14 and 0, and we label it in order to see it, minimize a little bit. You see the point is right here, the green one. So this is not in the overlap shaded area over here. So this is wrong. So we go to the next point, which is 0 and negative 14. Where is this point? Label it in order to see. Here is the point. So this is also not in the overlap. So this is wrong. Let's do the third one, 0 and 14. Of course, if you're fast on the computer or laptop or tablet, it will be very helpful. And this is also not a solution. Let's see what is going to be the solution. Of course, the last one had to be the solution, 14 comma 0. And you see over here, it's intersecting right here in the overlapped shaded area. So this is your answer. Choice D is the correct one. Hello guys, I made a collection of using Desmos topics on the calculator Desmos. Here is another equation, finding an equation for a line going through 2 points. Here is the 2 points right here, -2 and 7, 6 and -3. We just type in a table. How we get the table? You just hit add, then table right here. If after you put your x and y, just go to the far left right here and add the linear regression. So you get -1.25 plus 4.5. Let's see the equation to match the correct answer. As you see, it's B right here. If you're not sure with the decimal points, you can just type in the fraction over here to make sure. The first fraction for -4/5. As you see, it's, sorry, -5/4. 5/4, which is the correct answer B. You get -1.25, and 9/2 also is 4.5. As you know, if you don't know it, just type it to the far left right here. It will give you the decimal form of it. So this answer is B. Here is another form of also finding a linear equation. If we get these f of 17 equals -5, we know that 17 is x, -5 is y, and same thing over here. We can do also a table like we have done it in the previous example. So we get 17 and -5. We get 23 and -7. Then we hit linear equation from over here. It's going to give us -0.3 repeating plus 0.6 repeating, and that would be choice D from over here because -1/3 is 0.3. And also you can use the tab down here to find the decimal form for the fraction form over here. So choice D is the correct answer. Also, we can find an equation of a nonlinear function if we have a table right here and is asking us which equation represent this table. All you have to do is you type in the table right here, then you hit the exponential function. It's going to give you a graph right here. Then you're going to have to type in all these choices, and the same graph or identical graph is going to be this equation for the table of nonlinear function over here. So I type in the first choice, and here is the graph in the blue curve right here. So this is not identical. If we do the second one, also this one is not identical. We do the third one over here, the black one is not identical. We need something identical to the original, which is the red. If we type in the last equation, you see the green one right on top of the, we can zoom out a little bit. Here is the red, and here is the green one right on top of it. So this is identical. So choice D is the correct answer. And here also we can use Desmos to find x-intercept or y-intercept. As you see over here is giving us an equation like this and is asking for what is the value of y. When the x is 0, that means y-intercept. If the y is 0, that means x-intercept. So x is 0, that's y-intercept. So we have to type in this equation into Desmos. And over here we typed in and we get the graph. Then you go and zoom out to see the whole graph. This is your x-intercept. We don't need this one. We need the y-intercept, which is -24 as x is equal to 0. And here also we can use Desmos calculator to find the vertex or the maximum or the minimum of an equation, and it's give us this equation and is asking what is the minimum value of the function. Only when it says minimum value of the function, you're looking for the y axis or the y point. If it's asking for x, then you find x of the maximum or minimum. Well, anyways, we type in the equation right here and we get the graph, and let's zoom out to find the vertex, and here is the vertex. -20 for the x and also 224 for the y. So the answer is 224 because it's just asking for the maximum value of this function. And sometimes also it's asking for a solution, and here is your solution with the x-axis right here. We got two solutions as you see over down here. Okay, but this question is not asking for the solutions or the x-axis or the roots. It's just asking for the maximum value. We can use Desmos also for transformation of a function. It's given us this function and it says this function is transformed into h of 5 minus 2x. All we have to do is type in the first function right here and the graph as you see in black right there. But we don't need this graph. We need the graph of h minus 5, h of 5 minus 2x, and we need the ABC. And if we look at the ABC right here, when the whole function is equal to 0, that means the solutions. So we type in the question itself, which is h of 5 minus 2x right here, and give us two graphs. In order for you not to get confused, just take this graph off of the first function. We need this graph and go to the uh, x-axis and get the solutions for the next function, and you just put the numbers to the left side in order for you to have it clear. And now you need a plus b plus c. Here is the a, b, and c. So 0 plus 2.5 plus 4.5 is giving us 7, and this is the answer. We continuing using Desmos calculator. Here is to find the point on a circle. We have a circle and this is the equation of the circle, and it says what is the value of x that is going to be on this circle. Here is how we do it. We just type in the equation right here and this circle will show up. Then we put the multiple choice that we have over here, x equal -5. Let's zoom out to see the line. It's not intersecting with the circle. Over here, this x equal 2 is not also intersecting with the circle. X equal 11, as you see, intersecting with 2 points, so that's the good one. Over here, x equal 16 is away from the circle, so your answer is 11. Sometimes it gives us an equation like the one we have over here, and this is of course equation of a circle because we have x squared and y squared, and it's gonna ask for the length of the radius. Very simple. We just type in the equation on Desmos like this, and the circle will show up. We take the vertical point up and down here in the middle of the circle, and we label it. And after we label it, we call it, for example, A. We call it point A, and the same thing with the point down here, and we call it point B. And to find the center, because sometimes asks for the center, we just do that the center is equal to A plus B, those 2 points plus each other, divide by 2, then is going to give us the center, as you see over here, which is C. Now to find the radius is the distance between point A and C, or point C and B, so either ways. Or some students will get the distance between A and B and divide 2 because the radius is half of the diameter. That's fine, but I will go with distance between A and C. And now we get the radius is 9, as you see, and that's your correct answer. Okay. Also, guys, we can find the median, the mean, and the standard deviation on Desmos calculator. And if you're fast enough on the calculator, you will be good and save time for the hard question to take your time to answer it to get it correctly. Anyways, to find the mean of a bunch of numbers right here, so we get this number, we put them into parentheses like there. And if we need the median, we just type in median. But before I type in, let me copy this 3 times because I have it, I need it for 3 different questions. So we put the median. Now we get the median 27.5 right here. And if we need the mean, some student will say, Mister, we can get it on the calculator. Yes, but over here we're learning how to use Desmos. And once you get familiar with the keyboard of the tablet or the laptop, you will be so quick more than the calculator. But anyway, and we need to find the standard deviation. Standard deviation is ST DEV. ST standard, DEV deviation. And your deviation is 8.4. And that's your answer over here. Please watch it over and over and keep watching it in order for you not to forget every once in a while. You don't have to watch it every day, but just once watch it every once in a while in order for you to remember the easy stuff we do. I will try to do hard questions on Desmos, which using A, B, and C. I already have some of those questions on the shorts, so you can watch it and learn from it. Thank you.